Hey, this is Mark's watching MTC Media. So, a lot of times, if for like people my age, you think back when you first got to corporate America, and you're like, oh, you got to work your way up, and you're just all for it. You're enthusiastic. You're just very, very happy to simply have the chance. You're gonna go through it. Yeah, man. I can do this. After work hours, I'll stay a little bit late. You're doing everything you can to get down that pathway. And then, you do that for a few months, and you do it for, a little bit over a year and stuff, and you're making these sacrifices. And when you're at a younger age, you can ask, you ask yourself the question like, man, when is this stuff starting going to pay off, man? This grind, I just don't see where it's paying off, and you kind of lose sight. And that comes with youth. And it comes with being so early in the process. And that's where we are with Georgetown basketball. When Patrick Ewing was relieved of his duties and Cooley came in, Ed Cooley came in for Providence, it was, hey man, we know how far we are. This program is in ruins, and we're not going to keep retrying that because we've talked about that enough. And it's like, yeah, man, I'm just so happy there's a professional coach here, a guy who has shown in 2 other stops that he can get it done. I'm so happy with it, and to Ed Cooley's credit, he came out from the very first press conference and said, guys, this is not an easy fix. This is not a 1-year fix. Didn't get here in a year to this point. It's not going to take a year to get out of it. So I'm just letting you know that you guys need to be patient. Ed Cooley said that from day one. So here we are. 3 losses in a row, and a tough home loss without Jaden Epps against Creighton. And now I go on social media, oh, this is no different than last year. Oh, my goodness. I don't see any difference. It's not an improvement. Well, first and foremost, if you don't see a difference between what is happening on the floor this year, even in losses, and the past 6 years, you're an idiot. I mean, you obviously don't know what you are watching. You can't just be a box score bandit and say, well, there's no change. That's not how it works. And just like I was saying with the job and the impatience and the willingness to accept, but when you're in that middle of that grind, man, you start thinking to yourself, golly day, man, how long I have to do this? And Georgetown, they're going to probably have to do this another 2 years. It's not going to be easy, guys. Everyone I spoke to that was in the media prior to the season, when I asked, and we all discussed it, hey, man, what would be a successful season in the win column for Georgetown? Like, what is the top of the success in terms of wins? And most responses I received fell anywhere between 14 and 17. That was the tippy top of what you could expect if everything bounced right. 14 to 17. That's how far Georgetown is away. That's how far they were away when Ed Cooley took over. So remember, in the middle of this losing streak, this 3-game losing streak, which on paper should come to an end on Saturday when they face DePaul at home, that you got to catch yourself and not fall into that youthful mistake of thinking, oh, man, I've made all these sacrifices. I'm down the right path. I need to show some sort of progress that makes me feel comfortable right now. And it's not going to happen. It's not going to happen with Georgetown. Georgetown is going to suffer this year. What I will say is Cooley, unlike his predecessor, got guys out the transfer portal that had eligibility beyond that particular year. They have multi-year eligibility. So he'll be able to use this year to build upon those veterans next year. Then you get an additional year under the belt of Drew Fielder. Then you have the 4 freshmen come in, and probably 1 can contribute, 2 to 3 can get minutes for next year. And then in year 3 is when you say, okay, now it's time to see kind of like that jump. But guys, if you're not looking at it that way, then you're conveniently forgetting what everyone as Georgetown fans was willing to accept when Ewing left town, which is, we know, is a process. And by the way, I will give Cooley a lot of credit. I do like the way they're building, and they are trying to build with freshmen because, guys, we are finally can see the sun setting on COVID exemptions. Still got, I think, a couple more years on COVID exemptions, man. And then all these 25, 26-year-olds that's in college now, they're not going to be there with eligibility. So the idea that they're bringing in freshmen now and developing and getting into that habit, which means when those COVID exemptions expire and we don't have those anymore, there are going to be freshmen who have been in Georgetown's program who are going to be veterans 3 years in. Man, that's a good thought. And that's a plan. That is a sustainable plan. Might not work, might not be perfect, but it's a sustainable plan. And boy, I haven't been able to say those words in 6 years. It's Mark Washington with MTC Media.